your message from the moon. Are you living a life you love? If you're not, why? And when will you? Really? When will you step up? All right, that is the specific message from the moon, this full moon, July 10th, 2025. And in this episode, we get into the importance of this question both this week as well as at all times in your life. Hi, I'm Laura Custo, and I'm here to help you use the lunar cycles and astrology to make sense of the world. I use it all the time to calm down any overwhelm by tapping into the movements of the heavens, and I understand their energy. And then I find that moment of liberation where I can say, oh, that's why that may be happening, or that's why I have been feeling that way. And then move forward with clarity and confidence. Now, the absolute best place to start when it comes to working with the moon is by following it. It changes its phase about once a week. And I have a free tool for you to do just that. It's called the Moon Phase Compass. In it, I share 3 foundational and very simple ways you can work with each moon phase. I'll put a link for that at the top of the show notes. All right, let's talk about this Capricorn full moon and how it's asking you that question. Are you living a life you love? I'm going to give you 3 steps to answer that question, both on this full moon as well as any day of the year. Okay. First, take note of your life. Now, this full moon happening July 10th, 2025, and the root of that question, are you living a life you love? It has to do with the fact that this full moon is in Capricorn, okay? Capricorn is the sign that represents our responsibilities and our commitments. It's how others depend on us. So there is that component of that question. But we're layering on the fact that this is also a full moon. And the full moon is the time when everything comes to light, okay? The moon is as big as we can see. And what we're meant to do on the full moon is just that. It's to see. It's to look, to observe, take it all in. Be present, all right? But just really look, notice, see, stop doing and just be. See what is happening. See the truth that's being revealed. And again, my free guide, that Moon Phase Compass, is going to give you great guidance on how to use each of the 4 moon phases, the full moon being one of them, very simply. Okay, in that guide, you get 3 simple steps for each phase. So go grab the guide. The link's at the top of the show notes. It's called the Moon Phase Compass. All right, let's move on to step 2 and 3, okay? Because they kind of go together here. Those deal with the other planets, and those other planets are actually in positions right now that they're going to be in for quite some time. But what they're saying to us right now is wisdom that we can use no matter what is going on in the sky. So let me explain. 2025 has been full of big shifting energy. And if you've been following astrology, you are aware of that. Now, I'm not going to get crazy scientific here with you, but here's the high level. The planets from Saturn on out to Pluto, which is the last in our solar system, meaning Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, those 4, have all shifted into new signs this year. That's incredibly uncommon. You're like, why? Why is that uncommon, Laura? Okay, it's uncommon because Saturn, the closest of those planets, it moves signs every 3 years. That's the closest and fastest moving. So if the fastest moving planet shifts signs every 3 years, all the other ones take even longer to go through an entire sign. Uranus takes about 6, Neptune about 12 years, and Pluto every 20 or so. That's how often those planets change signs. So to have all 4 of them shifting signs within the first 6 months or so of 2025, that's a big deal, okay? So on top of that, they're actually all working together, so to speak. The angles they're making with each other are harmonious and they're collaborative, all right? First of all, Neptune and Saturn are right next to each other, and then they're making happy, harmonious angles with Uranus and Pluto. So it's a lot of shifting, and it's harmonious shifting. But it's still change. And with change, something is being brought to light. But these planets, like I said, they're guiding us to naturally get to these next 2 steps of how to answer that question. Am I living a life that I love? So step 2 is check in with yourself. How are you serving your dreams, your desires, and your capabilities? Now, Neptune, the planet of dreams and imagination, It's right at the start of the sign of Aries, which represents the self. It's your sovereignty. So it's your dreams, it's your imagination, your aspirations. How big can you get? And then Saturn is right there with it. And so it's also at the start of Aries. Well, Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn, where that full moon is right now. So Saturn has a lot of those Capricorn characteristics. It is responsibilities and it's structure specifically. And so it's asking you while you're dreaming Neptune, think about, are you happy with your responsibilities, with your commitments, with the structures that are in your life that are supporting your life, right? That's what structures do. And can you imagine Neptune something better? Can you dream up something better? Okay, so that is step 2. It's start with yourself. Think about your dreams and think about what you have committed to in your life right now as you answer that question. Am I living a life that I love? Those are the first 2 questions to ask yourself. And then step 3, we're going to bring in those other 2 planets. But step 3 is, are your dreams serving the world? And are your dreams for how you serve the world being fed? Are you living up to what you know you are capable of? Okay, Pluto is what's hidden. And that harmonious angle is asking us to look at the hidden parts of ourselves, things that we maybe have been avoiding, and ask, am I holding myself back from bringing the world my biggest gifts? Am I avoiding something that is a little uncomfortable because I've never done it, but I really deep down know that I have this capability? And in doing so, am I denying the world of something really great that I could be bringing to others? What would happen if I dared to show up as my authentic self? And then Uranus, it just entered Gemini this week. It was the last one of these outer planets to shift signs. And Uranus is the planet of the unexpected. It's sudden breakthroughs and sudden changes. And it has left the sign of Taurus, which is an earth sign that quite honestly can constrict Uranus a little bit. But it's gone into Gemini, which is a very intellectual and busy sign, and it's in the element of air. And Gemini is quick and fast, and it loves to think and analyze. So it's asking that question, are you staying open to unconventional, that's Uranus, ideas, that's Gemini? Are you thinking with an open mind? Are you letting yourself ponder those quote unquote, maybe harebrained ideas? This is the time to actually run with them and think of them and let your imagination run wild, especially if you integrate those Pluto components of what you're really capable of and what you've not allowed yourself to dare do because you're just keeping it hidden. So you're being allowed to dream big and bold here, to think about your life in new and unconventional and unexpected ways. And if there ever was a time to really shift your life, it is now. And in that sense, if you are at your best and you're serving the world at your best, it's going to be what is for the good of all. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this all the time. He talks about the different types of motivation. And the highest form of motivation is mission-driven motivation, meaning you have a mission that serves you. It's how you get motivated. There's a larger mission that you believe in, and it is your purpose, and it's how you serve the world. It's bigger than money motivation, reputation motivation. It's amazing. Mission-driven motivation. And so this is the optimal time to ask yourself that question. What is my mission? What is my life purpose? And is my life set up for me to serve in that way, structurally? Is it set up for me to be at my best? Am I living a life that I love, but truly going deep and asking yourself those questions and daring to dream big, daring to look at the structures and daring to make some changes? Because there has never been a lineup of the outer planets like this before in our lives. And here's the thing, they're going to be in these positions for a while. Now, we do have some retrogrades happening in the next few weeks, which means that some of them relative to how we view them on Earth, they're going to shift back into their old signs. But by early 2026, they are going to be back in these signs again for good. And when I say for good, I'm talking Saturn will be there for 3 years, right? But Uranus will be in Gemini for 6. Neptune will stay in Aries for about 12, etc. So we get a longer time in the case with those others. But again, this specific lineup happening on this full moon in Capricorn, which deals with structures and responsibilities, Well, that is just this full moon, July 10th. So if you're wanting to dig a little deeper into the energies of the full moon, there are 2 more days that you want to look at. And that would be January 11th, 2024. That was the day of a new moon in Capricorn that was happening around the same degree. So if you want to look back to that week, January 11th, 2024, see what intentions you set into motion. See what your energy was, your thought patterns, your self-talk. That's what we want to look at that week. And then the next date is October 10th, 2024. And that was the first quarter. So that week, you want to look at things that you committed to, things that you agreed to do, things that you signed up for, commitments made. So you would have set goals on the new moon, January 11th, 2024, and you would have committed to things on October 10th, 2024. Okay, and so you're going to want to look at those days, and this full moon, July 10th, is going to show you what you have co-created with the universe. And I always say, consciously or unconsciously. I've started working with these energies in a conscious way, but I always look back and get a sense for what was really going on and what were my thought processes and what was I under any stress that week. And no matter how hard I try to be conscious of working with the energies, I find that some unconscious things always creep in. Okay, so it's always really interesting. And if you uncover some interesting themes or interesting stories, I would love to hear what those are. Drop some comments below. All right, that's the update. So the 3 steps. Number 1, notice. Number 2, ask yourself if you are happy with the structures in your life and dream into your dreams. And step 3, are you living up to what you are capable of bringing the world? Are you bringing your gifts to the world? And are you satisfied with how you're showing up in your life? I think that will really help you answer that question. Am I living a life I love? Because at the end of the day, yes, we want to be happy. We want to be secure. We want to feel good. And part of that feeling, being a fulfilling feeling, is knowing that we are giving to others. All right, that's a wrap on the episode for this week. Thank you so much for being here. And if this resonated with you and you've got some interesting insights to share, please drop them down below in the comments. And if you benefited from this episode and you think someone else might too, please share it with them. Finally, if you haven't yet, I do have to encourage you, go grab that free guide, The Moon Phase Compass, where I share the 3 simple steps that I use to work with each and every moon phase. Super foundational and super helpful. All right, with that, take care and we'll see you next week.